Allow me first of all to say that it's a real great pleasure to be here with you today in Paris, as I just returned, like some of you, to Europe from a number of different meetings in New York during the week of the United Nations General Assembly. And if I may, I would like also to come back, I would say, on one of these meetings, an amazing meeting, I would say. I have to say, very useful for me, and I will do that at the end of my, Marianne, short comment. In a few, no, not seconds, but minutes, if I may say. But first of all, allow me to thank you, Marianne, and Pervenche for this very kind invitation to speak during today's important conference. And when I see such an audience, which is gorgeous, I would say, environment. Quai d'Orsay is well known by everybody, I think, in many other countries. And that's a place to be for this important conference on artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and cyber-resilience. Congratulations also to see to the members of the IMF teams for having built such a rich program with expert speakers and panelists among many IOSCO members. And I think, Marianne, that I'm not exaggerating by saying that, because as IOSCO chair, I am delighted to see that our members are the forefront of the global reflection this matter. I computed, but without quantum computer, 8 colleagues and friends were on the stage, 8 board members. Thanks for that. I'm not sure to know, and many others, I would say, in the room. I see Carlo, who is also the chair of the Standing Committee of ESMA about digital. Marlene, of course. Sorry, I was not able to be there for the first panel. But I am not sure to know so many international organizations where 8 board members are there with their own expertise, interaction. So it means that we are not exaggerating when we are used to say that IOSCO, it means a global membership organization. We are indeed, I would say, in charge of the supervision in various capacity of 95% of the financial market, ladies and gentlemen, all around the world. We have 130 jurisdictions on board. And so it means that whenever you have to tackle, to deal with global challenges, risks and opportunities, the place to be is, of course, IOSCO. It was the case for asset management, it was the case for rating agency, it was the case for benchmark, it was also in a partnership, the case for the time being for NBFI. And this is, of course, what we are doing also when we speak and take action, initiative, exchange good and poor practices to see what we can do together to learn from each other. But it means also that, by definition, if we want to be successful instrumental, we need a balanced approach. It's about risk, opportunities and challenges, and it's especially the case when we have to deal with artificial intelligence. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, artificial intelligence, and especially generative artificial intelligence, have taken substantial leaps forward in recent years. And both in our private life, never forget that there is no difference for that between what we are doing in our private life and our professional life. And both in our private life and our professional life, we have been using artificial intelligence. And of course, the financial sector is no exception. We are seeing a growing implementation of artificial intelligence tools in banking, insurance, and investment management. Just 2 figures, if I may. There are many, many studies. I would say an everyday new development for many consultants. But according to recent study, 90% of European financial entities have integrated artificial intelligence to some extent, and 72% plan to increase investment in generative artificial intelligence. Of course, what's in a name? Of course, it's part of the marketing of every firm to say that they are using. The question is, what's in a name? But I think that, let us be clear, there is a new world. And the advent of generative artificial intelligence marks a significant step forward in complexity, scale, and risk. And this tool can produce synthetic financial advice, automatic content generation, and even simulate human interaction with client, all in real time, and especially for retail client. That's one of our key, I would say, concern to some extent, but also priorities. And when we speak about artificial intelligence, I would say by definition, we need to do that at international, European, international, and global level, because by definition, I would say artificial intelligence knows no boundaries. So we need to collaborate, and that's what we are doing, of course, this afternoon. We need to collaborate across border, because we must strengthen international cooperation to share, first of all, best practices. I'm used to say that IOSCO chair, DNA of IOSCO is how to learn from each other. And I learned from my colleague, and maybe they learn from also other, I would say, and I think that's also the real added value of a global membership organization like IOSCO. And we need, of course, to strengthen international cooperation to share best practices, harmonize standards, and address cross-border risk. At the request of the South African G20 presidency, the Financial Stability Board, we are working a lot with the FSB, is preparing a report which examines how financial authorities can monitor artificial intelligence adoption and assess related vulnerabilities. I think that I may say that it's a public secret that I anticipate that, as in the FSB 2024 artificial intelligence report, one of the recommendations will be for the FSB and relevant SSB. I'm sure that everybody knows what in SSB it means: IOSCO, Basel Committee, and EIS standard setting bodies. And I think that we can expect that one of the recommendations will be for the FSB and relevant SSB to further enhance cross-border cooperation, particularly in terms of exchange information, experiences, and good practices. And in my capacity as IOSCO chair, which is again the global standard setter for financial market, financial product, consumer protection, rule of conduct, I believe that IOSCO must and will play a crucial role in this regard. Our role at IOSCO is to provide global solution to global risk and issue within our remit, of course, while recognizing that it's up to each jurisdiction to decide on how to implement or be informed by our principle. And as our work is consensus-based, we never vote, by the way, but we are faster than United Nations, no stress. As our work is consensus-based and the fruit of our collective wisdom, there is a wide buy-in of our members to take into account our work. What does it mean? Well, 4 years ago, so it means 4 years ago, it means recently, but also a long time ago when we speak about artificial intelligence. In 2021, IOSCO published our foundational guidance on the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning by market intelligence, or core business, if I may say, and asset manager, of course. That document focuses on governance. That's important for us. It's about governance, I would say. We are not IT people. We just try to see what are the lessons to be learned and what we need to have on board in order to have governance, accountability, testing, and oversight principles that remain highly relevant. However, generative artificial intelligence brings forward the need for renewed discussion. Our latest consultation report, ladies and gentlemen, published earlier this year, identifies several pressing concerns to be addressed appropriately and proportionally. I think in particular about the opacity of artificial intelligence model, risk of hallucination, risk of concentration, and governance gaps. Artificial intelligence is already, it's not a surprise by saying that, reshaping processes across the financial industry. But the next frontier, ladies and gentlemen, is emerging. Quantum computing technology with the potential to be even more transformative. And like all technological advances, it brings not only opportunities, but also risk. And one of the most critical is that in time, quantum computers may be capable of breaking today's encryption tensor. Of course, you would say that's not the job of the IOSCO members, for the prudential bank, the central bank, the banks. Yes and no. It's also a challenge for market infrastructure. So it means that we must be on board, and that's what we are doing. And even if it's not yet possible, I think that now is the moment to start preparing, first of all, to understand the new development, but it's the moment to start preparing for the information security challenges that quantum will pose. What does it mean for IOSCO, if I may? For IOSCO, this means intensifying our reflection on quantum as part of the broader technological agenda to ensure we are prepared when this shift materialized. At the same time, cyber-resilience must remain at the core of our collective agenda. As recent incidents have shown, so I intended to fly from Brussels to New York Saturday, it was Sunday, and you know why, like in Heathrow or in Dublin and Bern. So it means what it means. It means that a market infrastructure must be reopened as soon as possible, very quickly. So I would say it's a common objective. And as recent incidents have shown, financial stability and investor confidence depend on the ability of firms and infrastructure to withstand and recover from cyber attack. Quantum and artificial intelligence only aid in this urgency, as they may create new vulnerabilities, even while offering new tools for defense. That's, I would say, a balanced approach. IOSCO, together with other international organizations, the CPMI, that is for market infrastructure, and of course the Financial Stability Board, the FSB, has already provided guidance. It's important, not a necessary standard, but to see how we can learn from each other. What is our guidance on cyber resilience for financial market infrastructure? But the spread of technical change requires us to keep this guidance under active review and to support capacity building for our members, especially in jurisdictions where resources may be more limited. Don't forget that the majority of IOSCO members are representative of growth and emerging markets. And if I may, a last comment, see that I can be very short. I would say, as I told you, I flew back this morning from New York when I had numerous very useful and high-level meetings, including one with Queen Maxima of the Netherlands. And as you know, Queen Maxima is also the United Nations Secretary General Special Envoy for Financial Help. I have to tell you that was a fascinating discussion. Not a diplomatic discussion with nice speaking points led by the Queen. No staff, no speaking point, but a deep dive. And I was really impressed by her capacity to see how we can work together. And that's what I would like to propose to IOSCO and also to my Secretary General who is there and still alive and kicking because he's not well aware, I would say, more or less. I would say in order to see what we can do, also knowing that there are a lot of very useful experience at national level. And our discussion focused precisely on the issue of technology as an enabler of financial inclusion and financial health, not only about risk, but from a positive point of view, what it means in order, I would say, to support financial health, but also on the issue of technology as an enabler of fraud. And if I may, and everybody knows that protection of retail investors is part of my life for many years, retail investors are more and more subject to fraud schemes elaborated with the help of artificial intelligence and propagated on large online platforms and social media. Clearly, we need to, I'm hesitating a little bit to use the word en français, c'est toujours un peu difficile de dire qu'on va éduquer les gens, ça rappelle certaines expériences compliquées, in the English language, it's more, I would say, politically correct to say that we need to educate retail investors. And their critical judgment is the best shield against artificial-driven fraud. Many of us have also children, I have 4 children, adults. Fascinating to see that the screen for them most of the time doesn't mean no challenge. And I've always to say, look, be critical, challenge information that we have, not only on paper, but also especially on screen. And we need the user of artificial intelligence to understand the basic mechanism behind finance. We also need, ladies and gentlemen, artificial intelligence users to understand how artificial intelligence algorithms operate so that they can better be aware of the risk. But that cannot be all, ladies and gentlemen. And this is only why we are engaging collectively through IOSCO with the large platform providers to ensure that they also engage in the combat against online fraud. Thanks for your attention.